Welcome to the Flavor of Jazz Cuisine. I'm CD the Doctor here, all for your mental appetite. I got a fabulous interview here that I'm doing with Jazmin Ghent. She's a saxophonist and an educator. I had a nice sit down with her not too long ago, and we talked about a few things, what's going on in her career and her fantastic life playing the sax. Let's take a look. Basically, I want to thank you for joining the Flavor of Jazz Cuisine. This is exciting for me because, like you said, we've been trying to get together and set this up and everything. Your world is busy. I'm busy. Now we get to hook up and, try to go through some of this and get you to do another interview. I know you've done interviews in the past with individuals around the country and possibly the world. I've basically kind of familiarized myself, with all your social media and things like that. I just think it's fantastic. You're a powerful horn player. In my side of the music industry, and me being a musician myself, a drummer, and playing a long time with a lot of jazz artists, and then locally here with a lot of musicians, and just the love of music myself. I've been playing since I've been 5 years old. So technically trained, and you are very technically trained. So I think you have a different direction than most artists that I've heard, because I hear differences in the musicality and what you do. It's not the same as just listening to, like some of the general artists that are out there. And no doubt everybody's good in their own right, but I think you do have your own little flair of, what you do, your signature, if you will, on what you present in your production and music.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm truly honored, and as you know, it's a never-ending just path and journey to just be my best self, and almost like this unobtainable, goal.
Yes. It's fantastic. The one thing that I wanted to, just kind of in general and everything, you were born in Germany, I see.
Yes.
So is that due to, and I don't want to like second guess or, just make it be that you're a military brat, but is that, the consensus there?
Yes. My dad, he was an officer actually in the Army. So that's where, Germany came about. And he's, worked for the government since I was a little girl. So he's retired now. But
okay. Yeah, same as my father too. He's retired Air Force. I didn't get a chance to be in different countries or anything like that,
I didn't either. After Germany, when I was about like 3, I moved back to Alabama and just grew up there.
Okay. So what inspired you to get into the sax and, play that instrument?
Well, it's funny. It wasn't really choice. I didn't have any choices growing up. My parents are, you do this, then, you do as you're told. I'm thankful that, they're like that. But they're on their first date, they said, we'd like to have a child named Jazmin, because they love jazz music so much.
Right.
So I almost feel like I was like destined to play jazz.
Okay.
One day I started on piano in elementary school, but one day my mom brought home this saxophone, and my brother had been in band as well, playing saxophone, and she just told me, she's like, "You're playing this," and as much in my mind, I'm like, no, but I didn't have a choice, and maybe a year or two after that, she was like, "You're gonna be playing in church," and I tried to say no again, and I'm so thankful that she pushed me to do those things, because I wouldn't be where I am now. I see with my students, because I teach as well. With my students, being that young and having a choice, I don't think kids need choices like that.
Yeah.
And I appreciate all those things now, definitely.
Yeah, that's good too. I can share that as well too, because you got to have that push, early on, because sometimes you don't know what you want, but you don't realize what you're good at until you try some things. I kind of knew what I wanted early on too, but and it just kind of evolved that way, for like yourself, like you said, you were kind of just, hey, this is what you're going to do, but at least you found your comfort in it, and I think you're doing it well. At least you have the breath for it. That's for sure.
My goodness, yeah, it takes a little bit.
Yeah. So I see that you won an NAACP award too. That's fantastic.
That was a big surprise. It's just nobody but God, and I'm thankful for my family too. I have an amazing, like, supportive family, and everyone doesn't have that. I say that because my mom is my manager.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. And a lot of people are like, you shouldn't have, your family, your mom is your manager, and she is just my biggest support system. My family as well, and she told me, she was like, Jazmin, you should put your name in as, to be nominated for an Image Award. And I told her no. I told her there's so many amazing jazz artists, definitely not.
Yeah.
And she put my name in there anyways.
She snuck it in.
Yes. And I was away in Australia these past 2 weeks.
Right.
Week before, yes. So something like that. And I found out, number one, way before that I was a nominee, which was ridiculous. I never even got that. And then while I was away in Australia, I found out that I actually won. And she just sees something in me I don't see myself. And I'm just thankful again, because again, I would have just been like, no, please don't put my name in there. That was what I was thinking. So I'm so humbled, and it's a big honor, and I don't take that lightly at all.
Yeah. Well, that's fantastic. Congratulations. And, hopefully, many more come. And I think it will. I think you deserve it, because it's hard work. Like I said, I can relate to that, because the hard work produces all the things that come to you. It's not by happenstance or luck or anything. It's you've been working it. So, hey, you deserve it, and I'm really, really happy for you that that's happened to you. I have one of my other things that kind of leads me to, this question about with so many artists struggling to get, to the points of just some of the things that you're doing, and even where you're trying to go. Do you how is it very difficult staying in that performance vein, and to stay current, with all the social media and things like that? What is it that makes it work for you?
Oh goodness, I think everyone has their own formula, and I also believe everyone has their own path and their own journey. However, it is challenging to try to balance all those things. There's so many facets. You have radio, and coming out with singles and writing, staying true to yourself, however, still writing music that does appeal to other people.
Right.
Social media. And then you also have, trying to get performances and go out there and share your music. So,
right.
I mean, it's just so many things that come into play. But as far as like within the performance aspect, or do you mean like separating all those things, or what works?
Yeah, because the struggle is in the industry is that there's not a lot of exposure in some ways, just besides the social media, that people are still being recognized, because, terrestrial radio is kind of dying off, things of that nature, unless you got XM in your car and about certain streaming, sites and things like that, to recognize independent artists like yourself and other artists that are out there. We know the regular mainstream artists, Gerald Albright, Boney James, all these other folks that have been out there at a time when we used to have jazz stations that were popular. Now you got to search for these stations. So with people not knowing this, you can't turn on your dial no more and here's a jazz station. Now you got to find this stuff. And I think that is part of the question. How do you keep yourself current on that? What makes it, um, stay, I guess relative to the fact that people start to know you, who you are. How do you get yourself out there? Is your mom as the manager, finding all these avenues for you, and what do you do individually to do that?
When it comes to performance, yes, my mom really does. Um, do a lot of work in reference to like being in communication with different festivals or venues. But I think there's also, I'm in my 20s. So there's an aspect of kind of bridging that gap between, maybe a younger generation, maybe an older generation. I believe, it's my responsibility as a musician to kind of, connect those things, those two groups, because I run into people all the time who are near my age that really love jazz music and just aren't exposed. The key thing is exposed. And I want to try to expose people to jazz music. I wrote my thesis on that, exposing like young kids,
Right.
5, 6, 7 to jazz music, and everything is how you present it. So a goal of mine is like now what I've been doing, I'll try to do covers of popular songs that are out now.
Right.
And I played on my saxophone and just post it. I just post it on social media in hopes that you never know that even if it's one or two people that it might, grab some people's attention to look into jazz music.
Right. And that's true because I mean, even for what I do, now branching out into this YouTube version of what I do for my show and things like that to reach a lot of other people that are starting to look for, where is this music? What's going on? How, I guess, not so much popular, but how interesting it is, and making sure that it does get out there because that's part of what I've been doing with the show is grabbing a lot of independent artists because these people don't know you're out there doing this, unless they're surfing all the time and then they just happen to come across it, things like that. Is there anything different that you're doing that's trying to make that happen? Because you kind of led into the fact that, that was your thesis to try to, now expose the younger people into, recognizing, first of all, we got to get back to playing some real instruments.
And and it's out there. There are definitely people who play like instrumental music, but it's jazz and other other facets of that. However, I would be very naive to think that being a female and my age and those different, I think that does help,
yeah it does because it's not the norm, but like I think we discussed before, some of the other jazz females playing sax particularly, and they're not as known, but they're doing the same things that you are doing, whatever social media, network they can dive into to get that going, and trying to get around the country too. It's really heartening to the fact that, here in Denver, Colorado, we would like to bring in more artists like that. And it's hard to get a promoter or somebody that has the club to make this happen to say, well, who is this person? And, put you out there, you know what I'm saying? To get more exposure, to get a lot of that going on. And I think that's why my question is knowing that, do you do anything more creatively to make that happen, to get around like you do?
Most of the things like social media, I don't think I do something like way off or different. I do just try to think one benefit, like you're saying, some radio stations and things have changed as far as putting music out there. But there is a new way for artists. It puts a lot in the artist's hands, thinking of different ways to present your music.
Yes.
And so it challenges us to be creative. So, I mean, I'm always just trying to think of different things, whether it's a music video, whether it's a live, but that's something that all artists do. And as I said, I just don't even think there's a set formula. But I am thankful. I do think, a lot of that, God, I'm just very, very thankful. But I don't take it. I try to use the format to just, again, spread, jazz music.
Right.
And, the true purpose of it. Because like you were saying, how it's tough for younger artists out here. There are people, there's always that one person that kind of takes a chance on you, and different people that do take a chance. I would not be where I am today if it wasn't for, there's a company or agency called smoothjazz.com. You've probably heard of them.
Yeah.
I've worked with them. Even Dave Cause, who's absolutely amazing, but he's such an amazing person because, he's taken a chance too on a lot of younger artists.
Right.
And
he's probably seeking them out too, because didn't you do some performances with him while you were in Australia as well?
I did. I went on the Dave Cross cruise, and I never even thought that would happen. And he's like the nicest person, the most amazing, like he calls every single person on that cruise, and there's 60 something musicians. He calls every single one. I look at my phone and I'm like, is that Dave? Call. Which says a lot about his character, but there were many young musicians who not only did jazz, but did different things. So he's another person that truly cares about the future of music as a whole. There's a man there named Fingers Mitchell playing the didgeridoo, and it was awesome. But, but I mean,
how did you get hooked up with all that? How did you know to have that opportunity?
I met him at Monterey Bay Aquarium.
Okay.
And I met him there maybe like 3 years ago. And then we had just been in contact since then. So just kind of like the networking, that's another aspect that is a large percentage of jazz. There's a lot of networking going on. There's just a lot of things playing, networking,
Yes.
Which I think surprises me more and more as time goes on.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk a little bit more about your education journey here, because you already have a master's degree, right?
Yes. And I'm hoping to get my doctorate. I'm trying to get there. So.
That's what I was leading up to. I mean, that is awesome. I mean, we don't hear, especially about artists coming out, independent artists that are into the education part of it. And especially, a doctorate in music. When you think of doctors in music, you think about Quincy Jones and, all these other people that have done so many fantastic things in the industry, music-wise. So you're in that league now to where, movie scores and so forth, that's where I see that comes from,
I wish. There's so many, the great thing with music, there's so many different, should I say sectors or, different things that you can go into with music. So, but that's going to be you have to have a great focus with that, but there's musicians that do that. Adam Hawley, I don't know if you are familiar with him. He's an amazing guitarist and producer, and he's with everyone, but he has his doctorate, and I love to just, pick his brain, do that. So
that's fantastic. I wish you well in that endeavor too, because I'm excited about that. I wish I could go backwards a little bit and do that myself, but I can't take away the fact that I did learn how to read music and enjoy playing with the CU Jazz Ensemble at one point in time. That was really nice. So it's exciting. I mean, I have some other friends in the industry that are very much embedded in that kind of focus with their careers. writing and producing and composing, doing a lot of composing. So I hope I know you're having fun at it, but I'm sure it's really fun, to learn so much into exactly what that doctorate degree entails.
Definitely. There's just so many levels and goals that I have, and I'm thankful to slowly be reaching those. I know it's a process though.
Yeah. Who's your mentor? Who is your mentor?
Many.
It's a lot.
Definitely many. I have to say, one of the things that are really not surprising, but it's awesome. Not only are many of these jazz musicians amazing musicians, but they're amazing people. So when I was on the Dave Koz cruise, I was able to talk to, Candy Dolfer and Richard Elliott and Hughes Groove, and these people, just sit down and we'll have no problem just talking to you and sharing with you their advice and their take on the business. And those are some to just name a few. I mean, my goodness, even Jeff Lorber,
Love that guy. Yeah.
He is so awesome. And I kept thinking to myself, Jeff Lorber doesn't have any time to, talk to me, and he just started telling me this advice on as far as writing and music. And he's like, well, send me what you have. And I mean, and I'm just shocked,
Right.
It's just very humbling and I'm so thankful.
Right. Well, I know for the most part, we all musician wise have that common denominator, just music, and the creativity. And that's what makes it easy for people to gravitate towards us and talk, when we think, I think one point of my time in the highlight of getting to know, like top musicians and stuff like that, talking to George Duke at the time, talking to, all these people that are in the industry, I had a really good interview at one time with Ndugu, Leon Chandler, Ndugu. Oh, man. And, I threw something on him that he didn't even recognize because I had followed the group long time when they were doing the heavy fusion stuff, and he was kind of blown away at that. And, those are, my pioneers and mentors, those guys are great.
There's so many out there. It's hard, on the spot to just name them. That's the most recent what I was thinking, but I totally understand. And I'm sure with them, I bet they were, very friendly and open and just.
Oh yeah. It's just ready. Whatever you want to talk about, and it's so nice because they give their time and knowing that, hey, they were once there at one time, everything. And especially, like I said, we have a common denominator too, sharing, going out to NAMM, dealing with the NAMM show and hanging out, that's the hangout.
That's
yeah.
Time going to NAMM, that was definitely a, like, oh, you don't even know where to go. Chris, it's just
exactly. You have to pace yourself in there a little bit,
Definitely.
I've learned to take notes and saying, okay, I got to do this, keep a little checklist of things to do.
Yes.
And for our audience, the NAMM show is National Association for Music Merchants, a big show for the industry, everything from all the new equipment, software, and learning, everything, everybody and anybody's there in the industry and the people that you don't know about. It was just nice to know that there's so many people that the love of music, it doesn't matter about there being this star in the industry or, making all kind of money. It's about the love of just doing the music.
Yes, definitely. I totally agree. It's a bigger picture.
Yeah, it's a bigger picture. It comes from the heart. Good musicians come from the heart. They just get out and play and just have some fun.
Definitely.
Who is it that you would, I guess, like to play with that you haven't already?
Oh, goodness. That's tough. Who wouldn't say Stevie Wonder? That's definitely one.
Oh, yes. Well,
And,
you got to have your mom check in with him,
right.
Get you on the next tour. That'd be exciting.
Yes, that would be amazing. I always love John Legend. I think he's just awesome. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
I think Kirk Whalum is amazing. I played with him, but I mean, that's someone that I just grew up listening to.
Right.
Big fan of Kirk Whalum, and that's a long list. That's why I'm kind of woo.
Yeah.
Or just some.
Yeah. Well, tell people about the CDs that you have out, the albums that you have out, and where can they go to, see all your stuff, get your music and things.
I have 3 albums out, 3 CDs out. My first CD is entitled Boss, and that's named after my dog. His name is Boss.
Okay.
That's on Amazon. Any of these CDs are on Amazon, iTunes, CD Baby, any of that. Right. Boss. I have another one named Chocolate Sunshine.
Okay.
That's my second CD. Mm-hmm. Of course, being a chocolate woman, and
yeah.
Consider myself a bright person. My third is my latest, is entitled "The Story of Jazz." So, and that's just the little time on this earth, what I've some lessons I've learned and have experienced, and that one has James Lloyd on it. Okay. It has Jeff Lorber on there. Philippe Says and Kim Scott.
Some great guys. Good musicians. Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I like all that. You're doing it.
It's a hustle, but I feel so passionate about all those CDs, and I think there's something on there for anyone.
Yes. The first one that you put out, I'm actually going to play a tune here, and it's going to be that one that you did with the Les McCann groove, because that's one of my favorites. I'm old school, so that Compared to What is slamming. Your rendition of that is really nice. It's really nice. I'm going to play that, and I've played a couple of your other tunes on your new CD, which is on my previous show that I've done, and people can go back to that and check that out. I really love what you do. I mean, you have a lot of energy.
Oh, thank you.
I can tell that in your playing. There's a lot of energy. You have fun with it, and you drive yourself to. And I can hear in your technicality of just the growth that you have with knowing that your journey and learning music and knowing how to play that bad boy, that saxophone. You owning it.
Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jazmin Ghent, y'all.
All right, we're going to run back into some more of the interview here. I'll go ahead and complete this, and you'll hear some of the exciting information and the vibe of Jazmin Ghent and her journey through her musical exploration of lessons and teaching.
So what's coming up for you next? You just been to Australia, just got back from there. Fantastic. What's on the board now?
Well, now, my goodness. So in May, because actually April is just a little free, and then things just kind of get a little crazy after that.
Yeah.
So I have the Jacksonville Jazz Festival, which is actually here in Florida. I live in Florida.
Okay.
Then I'll be playing the San Diego Jazz Festival, South Jazz Parlor, which is in Philly.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I have to like look all this stuff up. It's tough.
Yeah.
Wisconsin this summer, New York is in May as well. When in May is that? But everything is on my website, which that's more accurate information. I post on Facebook as well if something's coming up. Blues Alley, which is in DC, that's coming up in June. So all that, my website is jazminghentmusic.com, JazminGhent music.com.
Great. Well, that's good. I hope everybody hits that up. Go out and see you perform and everything. It's exciting. I'm excited to try to get to see you live somewhere. You got to get your mom to go ahead and try to get you here in Denver, Colorado somewhere.
That would be awesome. I know there's a lot of places I've heard of, like the Soil Dove and like some
Soil Dove, yes. Soil Dove, Dazzles. And of course, we have jazz festivals throughout the year in our mountain areas, Winter Park Jazz Festival and Telluride Jazz Festival, Breckenridge Jazz Festival. We got all those places. Aspen, oh my goodness. It just goes on and on and on. And not to say that, a lot of the artists that you spoke of and a lot of artists that are, real deep jazzers and stuff, there's a lot of people that do come perform here. Sometimes I miss out. I'm like, oh, wow, so-and-so was here and I didn't see him, Najee's coming up at the Soul Dove,
He's another person that is like you're saying like mentor?
Yeah.
just talking to him maybe like a week or so ago, just talking about like, hey, what saxophones do you like? And I mean, he has his own like line of saxophones.
Yeah.
So, no, she's awesome.
Yes. Oh man, he's definitely a favorite. He's definitely a favorite.
And he
You know,
lives
those are, yeah. They're like the trailblazers, you know, out there in the music industry for sure.
definitely.
But I'm sure you have your own sax out there down the road. You know, signature name, yes. You know,
be awesome.
the Ghent classic or something, you know.
Like a whole like line. That would be cool.
Exactly. All pretty colors and everything.
Oh my goodness. So I don't mind speaking that into existence.
Yes. Hey, it could happen. It could happen. You're on your way. You're definitely on your way. Well, I've really enjoyed you, and the conversation has been great because like I said, I want to get more independent artists to talk to, and you know, have everybody just kind of vibe on this. And you know, a lot of guys and people that are out there, they're interested to see, you know, the backside, you know, in the background, what's going on, and you know how to get going, especially with somebody that's fresh, that's starting off playing any kind of instrument, you know, and they're going to figure out what do I need to do to get out and play, so forth and so on, you know.
Yes, and you know, I thank you for having me, and you know, leaving and listening to again artists such as myself who, like you said, are independent, and you know, it's definitely a hustle. It's a journey, but I'm thankful to be on this path, and people like you that, you know, support, you know, jazz music, and you know, young artists such as myself. So
oh, it's been a pleasure. You know, we'll definitely do some more, and all your friends and everything, you know, you'll have to, you know, once we get this out there, hit them up and saying, hey, check the interview out, check the show out, things of that nature. Sooner or later, I guess we'll hook up again at the NAMM show, you know.
sounds good.
You know, because I do intend to go next year. I don't know if you'll be out there or anything.
I'm hoping to go as well. I missed it this year and made it the year before, so I think I had a gig around the time, but definitely because I love it. So
yeah, it's like a recharge.
Oh yeah, and then you're surrounded by so many musicians on top of like new the latest and greatest in music. So it's so much fun.
Right. And I did want to point out too, as you mentioned earlier in the conversation, that the new young artists, there are a lot of young jazz musicians and they're killing it. They're killing it. Man, I love what some of these young cats are doing, you know. They've been taking notes, and you know, there's a few people out here that I've gone to jam sessions with, and where did you hear this music? What do you? Oh, my dad used to do this, and I was just so into it, and I love the fusion and this and everything. And just to point out, one guy that I really talked to in depth was Ethan Farmer. That cat is, man, I don't know if you're familiar with him. Plays bass, and he's a really good guy.
Oh my goodness! Well, now I have to.
Yeah, you have to check out Ethan. Ethan is really tight, and of course, I like Snarky Puppy. Those guys are, oh man, it's just nice. It just blows me away to see good, fresh musicians. You know, like I said, everybody needs to get back to playing some instruments. You know.
Yes, and you know, and that's again my goal, to just spread jazz music.
Good. Well, I definitely want to. We're going to stay in contact. Sounds, you know, newfound friendship and things. You know, I know you're busy with school and things like that, and definitely don't want to interrupt your studies. You know, keep it moving. And how much time you got left for your degree?
You mean as far as my master's?
Yeah. Well, your doctor? Were you going for your master's or the doctorate?
No. I already got my master's. So my
Right.
doctorate, I haven't even started yet. So,
Oh, okay.
Goodness, that's even putting more pressure. Yeah, no, I'm planning on getting started this fall. So,
Okay.
yeah, the journey begins.
All right. So you're just teaching now, and finishing up.
Well, teaching and traveling mainly. So,
Okay.
that alone is just a lot because I'd come straight from the airport to my classroom, so it can be a juggle, but
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
happy to be able to do it.
you got the energy for it, and hey, stay blessed. It's working out as far as what I can hear and see. It's working out.
No, thank you so much. I
want to thank you for joining the Flavor of Jazz Cuisine, all for your mental appetite.
All right, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for joining me once again on the Flavor of Jazz Cuisine, all for your mental appetite. And I had a pleasure really talking to Jazmin Ghent, saxophonist extraordinaire and educator. I want to thank her for the interview that she had done with me. And I know as we go forward here, I'm going to have more interviews coming up with some exciting people, some exciting artists, and just to sit down and rap and talk about what's going on in the industry. Remember, if you like what you see, subscribe to my page here as well as like. Thank you for joining me once again. As I said, the Flavor of Jazz Cuisine, all for your mental appetite. C.D. the Doctor here. See you again soon.